Was India behind a Sikh assassination in Canada? Geopolitical intrigue and drama. Tensions rise as Canada investigates the killing of a prominent Sikh leader named Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was gunned down in British Columbia. Sikh and Muslim community leaders have urged the Canadian government to be more proactive in safeguarding their communities amidst this turmoil. Nijjar, who advocated for a sovereign Sikh state in India called Khalistan, has been has been tagged as a terrorist by the Indian authorities. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau voiced concerns over, quote, credible allegations of a potential link between Indian government agents and the assassination, a claim that Mukhbir Singh of the World Sikh Organization said was not surprising to the Sikh community. The backdrop is a decades old Sikh secessionist movement, which traces its roots to the 1947 partition of India and Pakistan. This movement's crescendo was in the 1980s, notably marked by the controversial 1984 storming of the Golden Palace, Sikhism's holiest site, by the Indian military. This military action and the subsequent assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi by her Sikh bodyguards sparked a series of violent episodes and claims of Sikh persecution, with the shadow of these events still lingering in today's geopolitics. Okay, Armin, let's come back. Okay, there we go. So there is a lot to dig into here. This is a very, very controversial episode unfolding right now between Canada and India. And should we provide more details, or what's your reaction? How much have you been following this?
I want people to, because a lot of people were trying to predict where I stand on this, because I'm a Canadian citizen and I'm also a liberal, and we have been taking a lot of positions against the BJP and Modi's government here on our shows. So I was wondering, because a lot of people seem to assume, based on all of these things, what do people think? Like, what do people think I'm going to say about this? I wonder if anybody has any predictions about this, given that, so this is Canada versus India, and I'm a Canadian and I'm a liberal at the same time, and we have been against Modi's government. So I think a lot of people guess what I'm going to say about this. What do you want to guess what I'm going to say about this?
Oh, well, in the beginning of the show, Shikha was lambasting you about just dogmatically supporting. Yeah, no, here we go. It would be fun to see Armin defending his favorite politician, Trudeau. I don't know where she got that impression.
I mean,
but a lot of judgment is being passed already.
Why do you think he's my favorite politician? I don't know what you're talking about. You just baseless assumptions, Yeah. Yeah, okay, I like this. I like somebody saying, I think Armin is going to be pretty objective about it. So here's the thing. This guy, I do believe, is accurate to call him a terrorist. This guy who died. He was a terrorist. He was a separatist. He was, as a liberal, people think as a liberal, I would be, okay, so one of our highest priorities is to defend every country's independence, their sovereignty, their border integrity, and any force and any group of people who challenges that, we're against that. So we are obviously against this person who died. He was not somebody that we would support, and we agree with the Indian government that he was a terrorist, right? With regards to these allegations, we have not been shared the evidence that the Canadian government is going with. So I don't know. I think that's the proper position, would be to say that we don't know. We don't know whether this is true or not, whether Indian government has done this. The problem with analyzing this situation is that it's both bizarre on both ends. Like, it's So, like, I don't know which one is more unlikely. Like, they're both very unlikely. They're both so unlikely that I don't know which one to choose. It's very unlikely for the Indian government to be this stupid. This is unbelievable. This is, I mean, I know Modi's government has done some crazy things that we criticize here, but this is completely on a different level. To kill somebody on Canadian soil, this being something that the Indian government does, this is unimaginable. Like, this is mind-blowing. This is not something like a government like that of India does. This is beyond even something that the government of Pakistan would do. This is beyond something even that the government of Saudi Arabia would do. This is not something a country as significant and important as India. I cannot even imagine them even considering doing something like this.
Wait,
This is
why?
only
Because it's on Canadian soil? Because they are very credible allegations of them doing this in Pakistan, like left, right, and center.
Okay, Pakistan. Yeah, okay. But this is Canada. Okay. So also, this is the kind of stuff that a government as stupid as the government of Iran does, not India. Like, this is no, yeah, this is Iranian government level diplomacy. You know, like, this is not diplomacy, but you know what I'm talking about. This is politics. This is not India. This is not. I don't like. What are like? I want people. I hope people understand how unimaginable this is for a country like India to behave like this. This is mind blowing. Okay, so that's like, if anybody suggests to me that the Indian government has done this, I will be like, you're insane. Okay. However, the problem is, it's also insane for Canadian intelligence to say something that they don't have evidence for. Okay. So that is also
serious with a trade deal that's as significant, that's been worked on for over a decade, coming down the pipeline. Like, this is crazy.
So that is also crazy. Like, it's crazy for the Indian government to have done something like this. So I cannot believe that. But I can't also believe that the Canadian government would lie about something like this. They're both unbelievable, but one of them is true. This is not a false dichotomy. This is an actual dichotomy. One of these has to be true, and because they're both insanely unbelievable, I don't know which one to pick. So I am lost for words. I don't know. Do you understand the situation that we're here in?
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm just laughing because your way of expressing it is so funny.
Yeah.
This is something as stupid as the government of Iran would do.
Yes, this is not. We're talking about an economic superpower. Two economic superpowers. Like, this is like we are talking about two countries that their alliance is significant to the entire planet. We're talking about members of the Five Eyes, right? These are both members. Like, let me see. Actually, make sure if I got that right. But yeah. So these are countries that the United States is relying on and creating an alliance against the threat of the wolf warrior diplomacy that is China, right? So Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, United States. Okay, so I mean, India is not in the Five Eyes, but India is a major ally to Western countries when it comes to trying to take a stance against China's wolf warrior diplomacy, right? So between United States having two of its main allies going like this at each other, this is a disaster. This is a disaster when it comes to Western. Like, we need, guys, as you could complain about India's politics all you want. We need India. India, with all its flaws, it's a very important ally to Western countries when it comes to making sure that China is not bullying other countries around, right? This is like, and India is going to become a major economic superpower in the next couple of years. So this is a disaster when it comes to global politics and global trade. These are India and Canada.
Tit for tat. this expelling of
Yes.
diplomats on both sides, suspending visa services. I mean, this is a disaster.
Yeah, these are countries that you want to have on the same side. Canada and India, these are countries that you want to have on the same side. So this is when it comes to liberalism and secularism and democracy, has Canada and India being against each other is a major blow to the promotion of liberal forces winning globally, right? There are certain events that when happen, we celebrate, we see that as a major win for the world liberal order. Like, for example, people coming up and backing Ukraine against Russia. That was one of those key moments, which was a key shift in global politics in favor of liberal powers. This is one of those key moments that has been a major blow, like Canada and India being against each other. So there's that, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. If you had to bet, which one would you think is more likely to be true? I mean, I can't. Why? Here's the thing: other Western countries are not taking Canada very seriously right now. So there's that.
I don't know if it's that they don't take Canada seriously. I think they don't want to be forced to side with Canada because India is
big,
strategically important. So like,
yeah,
they're not jumping to Canada's defense because India is so important to them. But Antony Blinken actually did put out a statement within the past 2 days saying that they're taking these allegations like very, very seriously and that they're asking all Indian authorities to cooperate. So that was kind of significant coming from the Secretary of State. But in general, well, because you asked me what do I think is more likely. So I was reading an article about how an anonymous source, so take that how you will, was speaking to a journalist, I think it was CBC, and said that part of this intelligence came from the Five Eyes Cooperative of Intelligence Services, meaning that it wouldn't be solely Canadian intelligence that had some evidence of this plot, meaning it came from one of their allies being either United States, New Zealand, Australia, or the UK. And then there was also another source came out saying that part of how they found evidence or why they believed to have credible evidence for these allegations is because Canada has been surveilling Indian diplomats, which is a little bit of a hoo-hoo. It's kind of like how, when Jamal Khashoggi was murdered in the Saudi consulate, it was partially exposed because the Turkish government came forward and basically revealed that they had bugged the Saudi consulate. So they had audio of him being murdered. I mean, it's not on the same level that we know of yet, but it's like, actually, we've been watching you. And Dee brings up a very good point. Wait, where did her comment go? She was saying, like, why would such a disaster be fabricated and who wins?
Nobody wins. I mean, exactly. This is a lose-lose.
That, in a sense, almost gives it credibility because it's like such a disaster. Why would you want to fabricate something like this?
Nobody wins in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, this is bad for India. This is horrible for India and it's horrible for Canada. I don't even know. It's good for China. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I would be like, somebody Chinese intelligence killed him and made it look to be Indian, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist. If I was one, I would say that.
Yeah. Akash is saying, what do you think would be the motivation to fabricate this claim if they did?
There's none. Who can? There's no one. Canada would not have any, but there's zero. This would be a disaster. This would be an embarrassment. Okay, here's the thing. If I don't think they would on purpose make this up, but if they made a mistake, if the Canadian intelligence made the mistake, and the Prime Minister put all his political capital and his legitimacy and his credibility on the line to go out and say we have credible information that Indian government has done this, and then it's proven that they are wrong, this would be a global embarrassment for Canada, something that they would be referred to for decades to come.
It's literally the meme, like, where it's like from Tiger King, where it's like, what? I will never financially recover from this.
Yes, if this is wrong information, why would Canada lie about this? Because it will, if it's not true, there's a good chance that eventually people will find out that it's not true. And it will be devastating for Canada to claim something like this that it's not true. There is zero motivation for this. There could be no motivation to fabricate this. Either it's either that it's true, or they made an embarrassing mistake. They would not lie on purpose. It's one of these two, I think. Okay, an embarrassing. Yes, either it's true, either what Canadian government is saying is true, or they have made an embarrassing mistake. It's one of these two.
Like it's just a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a lot of the comments and super chats to go through here. One of them that I appreciated was Sid Dave was guessing how we would cover this, and I think it was accurate. He's saying you will not support a theocratic ethno state, just like how you don't support ISIS, but you will condemn the extrajudicial killing of this guy.
Oh yeah, of course. But who, like, I mean, we don't even need to say that whoever killed this guy was an a-hole and like was a criminal. We just don't know who did it. We're not saying, because here's the thing, I'm not going to come and say like obviously the Indian government did it. We don't have access to the evidence. Like I'm not just going to believe Trudeau just because he's Trudeau. There's a chance that they made and if I don't believe him, it's not because I think he's lying. I don't think they're stupid enough to lie about something like this. But there is a chance that this is bad intelligence. There's a very low chance that this is bad intelligence, but which one is lower? It's a very low chance that this is bad intelligence, but there's also a very low chance that Indian government would do this. So they're both very unlikely. So I don't know which one is more unlikely. So yeah, I don't know which one to pick. I am actually,
But I appreciate
let's go.
Dave for giving us a very good faith guess about what our opinion would be, because everyone else, well, not everyone else, but certain other people were engaging in very bad
Sikh.
But I'm like, yes, Sid Dave understands our values and our principles. I love to see it.
Yes.
Okay. Gajan is asking, could it be a rogue agent?
Okay, I was thinking that, but this has to be the best rogue agent in the history of rogue agents. Like, I don't know. Like, okay, so rogue agent, like in the Indian government, like somebody did this without having the backing. Okay, I don't know.
Well, maybe it's in the sense that, you know how, Armin, you talk about how when with the attempted assassinations of Miss Ahmadinejad, we're so incredibly inept and stupid that you're like, it's almost possible that there are people operating within the Iranian intelligence services that are basically doing it of their own accord without the higher ups necessarily understanding what they're doing. Maybe that kind of a situation.
Well, that's a good example. This was not like that. This was done successfully.
Yeah,
right? Right, and it was done in a way that the Canadian intelligence seems to think it's the Indian government entirely, right? It doesn't, like, if it was a rogue agent, the Canadian intelligence has not been recognizing it as a rogue agent, and mind you, like, Canadian intelligence has had a good record. Like, we're not talking, like, Canadian government has stopped multiple terrorist attacks on Canada before they happened because of good tracking and stuff like that. So we're not talking, I don't know. I don't know how you evaluate how good this intelligence is because they don't give us the evidence for this stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is a rogue agent. If it's a rogue agent, it's a rogue agent that has fooled all of the intelligence of Canadian government to think in a way to think that this is the entirety, like Modi's government itself. So there's that, right? Weird.
Okay, so there was another comment I wanted to read. Okay, so Gajan gave us a super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Gajan. Actually, no, wait, let's do Sid's first because he sent it in immediately. Okay. Sid is saying, thank you for the super chat, Sid. Media sanitizing him as an activist when he was on a no-fly list in the US, and Canada, and considered by India to be a terrorist. He traveled to Pakistan, which was involved in bombings. It still does not justify what India did.
Oh yeah, and also for India to come and keep saying like, "Oh, this guy was a terrorist." I mean, yeah, he was, but that makes it suspicious. Like, this is not what India should be saying right now. You're like, because they kind of make it seem like, well, he deserves it. Like, okay, when the fingers are being pointed at you, you don't have to go keep reminding people that this guy deserved to die because like, okay, so you did it then. Right? I mean, we like that's what it sounds. A lot of people, that's what they're hearing because in Indian government is kind of like saying like, oh, Canadian government is not focusing on the right thing. The right thing that we need to focus on is that this guy was a terrorist. Like they sound like they're justifying. I'm not saying they are justifying it, but to a lot of the audience, to a lot of people who are listening to the narrative of the Indian government right now, it comes across as like, yeah, well, if we did it, we did a good job. Right? So I mean, I know that's not what they're saying, but that's what a lot of people are hearing. But I agree that this guy was a terrorist. Okay, I agree this guy should have been stopped, not this way, but should have been stopped some other way.
I think the Canadian government, I don't know the legality, but I think they should have been more cooperative in extraditing him.
Yes. Yeah, I think the Canadian government failed. Yeah, I think that given that India and Canada are supposed to be allies, I think the Canadian government should have cooperated more with I mean, this is a guy that is challenging the border integrity of India. Okay, so if anything, allies should do. I mean, if they don't cooperate on anything else, it should be on this. So I think this man should have been arrested and delivered to India. Like a good ally, Canada should have behaved like that. That's how it should have been done, right?
And you know what's interesting is that like apparently at the G20 summit, Modi and Trudeau had a little moment together, like pull aside and talked about this. And Modi basically confronted him about not doing enough to combat the quote unquote anti-India elements within Canada. And this whole like anti-India thing is often used, to like, use sedition charges against people unjustifiably or silence critics or blah, blah, blah. No, this movement is anti-India. It is. So yes. I feel like that framing is accurate and fair. Right. And also on a personal note, like the idea of actually establishing Khalistan like seems like a terrible idea on so many different levels. One, I was thinking about this. I'm like, I think the last thing that the subcontinent needs is more partitions around ethno-religious lines, for one. Two, if you did get a Khalistan, do you really want to be a tiny landlocked nation in between two nuclear states?
Right.
That sounds like a horrible idea. So, wait, let's do the new members in a second. We have a lot more super chats.
I want to highlight this. Okay, I want to highlight this comment. Let me respond to this. It was kind of funny. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is very funny, okay? So Shikha is saying, India is a nation of Gandhi. We can never do it. Okay, Shikha, India is also a nation that killed Gandhi. So it's both Gandhi and assassination of Gandhi is both Indian. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think that's a good example, if you remember, because I'm not Indian. And I know what happened to Gandhi, so I don't know why you're ignoring that part of the story. So I don't know. Okay, so that was interesting, but yeah. So which one do you want to highlight? You go.
Gaijin gave us a super chat. Thank you, Gaijin. Saying, are there any differences between Hawaiian, Khalistani, Uyghur, or Quebecan separatists? When does a separatist become a freedom fighter?
Wait. But by the way, guys, I know she's joking. I'm joking back. Gaijin, are there any differences between Hawaiian, Khalistani, Uyghur, Quebecan separatists? Yeah. When does a separatist become a freedom fighter? Okay, so when you pick up guns, I guess. And also, freedom fighter is another. You say freedom fighter if your country is not a fascist government, then you're not a freedom fighter. If you're a terrorist, okay? Unless you are being like ruled by Yazidis or the Islamic Republic of Iran, then being a separatist, if you're a political separatist, then fair play, freedom of speech, try to get what you want using political means. But if you're a separatist that picks up arms and your government is not fascistic, then you are not a freedom fighter, you're a terrorist, right? So Quebecan separatists are trying to become separate using political means, so that's fine. Uyghurs is the name of an ethnicity, not a movement.
But there is the movement for East Turkmenistan. That there is a movement.
But I know, but we don't want to generalize that to all of Uyghurs, right? Like, so yeah, Khalistani is
the Uyghurs and Kazakh people in Xinjiang, so-called East Turkmenistan, are living under authoritarian rule.
Yeah, but I don't think that is for China is authoritarian enough to justify separatism.
Even when there's almost 500,000 to a million people being put in forced labor camps, that's not authoritarian enough.
China's border integrity is important. I do not support any movement that challenges China. I do support any movement that challenges against China's authoritarian activities, like push back against that. But I respect China's border integrity, and I'm against any movement that challenges China's border integrity. I am against the CCP. I am against that government. I am against their methods. I am against their human rights violations. But just because of that, border integrity is such an important. There are very, very, very rare circumstances that I would be able to welcome somebody using arms to challenge any country's border integrity. One of the countries that, when it comes to human rights record, I am against the most is Saudi Arabia, right? And also the Islamic Republic of Iran's human rights records we're very much against. But I would not be in favor of challenging any of these countries' border integrity, either Iran or Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, I would defend Saudi Arabia's border integrity, even though I am against the government's human rights violation. We should not mix these with each other, right? Unless there is actual genocide on a scale that we've seen with the Armenian genocide or the genocide during World War II. Those are very, very rare circumstances that you might support something like that. Anyways, I think we answered this properly.
Yeah, okay. So there's lots of guys, by the way, if you're enjoying this so far, make sure to like this stream. Like, do not forget to like and subscribe. Okay, Sakai gave a super chat. Thank you, Sakai. Saying, do you believe this would be the national government of India or a rogue nationalist faction or criminal organization with ties to India's intelligence agencies? We kind of talked about this a little bit already about a rogue agent. What do you think about these other angles?
I think if it's a rogue nationalist and the Canadian intelligence could not differentiate between a rogue nationalist and the Indian government, then that would be embarrassing, because the Canadian Prime Minister came out and in front of the whole world accused the Indian government of carrying out this assassination. If that's what happened, this would be very, very embarrassing for both the Prime Minister and also Canadian intelligence as a whole. It's just so weird for them not to be able to differentiate between those two. that's so strange. And I mean, maybe with this level of confidence, they didn't come out and say like maybe it's a rogue nationalist, maybe it's the Indian government. They came out with such high confidence and blamed the Indian government, right? So to me, that level of confidence might suggest that they have evidence to support this not being a rogue agent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's so hard to guess right now. It's so bizarre. Yeah. They need to share the evidence with. I mean, are they sharing the evidence with like like we need like a third party to come tell people that this has been verified, like maybe U.S. intelligence or French intelligence or UK intelligence.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but somebody needs, like, we don't. I know we can't see the evidence because it's too sensitive, but somebody else needs to come and verify and come tell the public that, yeah, we checked it and these people are right.
The UK isn't going to do that. I don't know, maybe maybe Australia or New Zealand. Maybe New Zealand.
Pakistan intelligence. I can't. Yeah.
Okay, so next super chat again from Gajan, thank you, saying this is what happens when you become this is what happens when you become an independent nation with its pointless liberalism and democracy. India and Canada should bend the knee to His Majesty King Charles III. All hail Britannia.
Okay.
JK.
Okay.
Thank you, Gajan. That made me laugh. Shika gave a super chat and saying, do you think Trudeau is doing it for basically a domestic audience? If so, this was the worst play ever.
If so, he's the dumbest prime minister who has ever lived. And no, I don't think so. What internal game to like come lie about the biggest lie in the history of Canada, like, and for what? Like, I don't know. No, definitely not. The embarrassment of this being wrong would be devastating. It will embarrass Canada. Would you want to be a prime minister that is telling something that comes as and a world like Canada is now all over the news right now, right? Like when Canada makes global news, that means something significant is happening. Canada doesn't often become global news, right? So,
if we're on the front page, something is wrong.
Yeah. If Canada is on the front page and it ends up being something wrong, this would be bad for the reputation of Canada for years to come, and Trudeau would be responsible for it. What internal game, what advantage would that have for him? Right. Yeah.
Okay, so another super chat by Dave. Thank you, Dave. Sid Dave, excuse me. Saying India may be indirectly involved, but not directly. It may be a gang war in India, being in touch with gangsters who did it and knowing it will happen.
Yeah, but then
so that isn't that equivalent as putting a hit out on him? At least in America, that's still considered a party to a murder.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what the Iranian government does. Like when they want to kill somebody in the U.S., they don't send their own soldiers there. They don't send their own assassins there. They go hire local assassins in United States. But that will still make them directly responsible if they have done that, right?
So D gave us a super chat. Thank you, D, saying please Google Jashwant Singh sorry, I can't pronounce that. I think this news might be plausible. And in the background, I was looking into his Wikipedia page because I'm not familiar with this person. But basically, it seems like he was a human rights activist in India who was responsible for researching 25,000 illegal killings involving the Punjab police, and including the police killing 2,000 police officers who refused to cooperate. And it seems like he was kidnapped and then murdered by the Punjab police in the 1990s.
Where Where was this guy?
In India, in Punjab.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, of course. Indian government doing something like that in India, I could completely believe that. Okay? No, we're not. This is on a different. Okay, doing this on Canadian soil, I want people to understand what level of escalation we're talking about here. This is unimaginable, right? This is, again, this is stuff like, for example, let me say, Saudi Arabia, okay, killing somebody in Saudi Arabia. I was like, of course, okay. Saudi Arabia killing somebody in the Saudi embassy on its foreign soil. I'm like, yeah, okay. But Saudi Arabia killing somebody on Canadian soil, on US soil, I would be like, okay, even Saudi Arabia is not that crazy. Okay. So only Iranian government is that crazy. Okay. Only maybe like North Korean and Iranian governments would be that crazy to do stuff like that. But if I don't expect that, or Russians too. Okay, Russian government too. Okay, killing people on foreign soil. But India's government killing somebody on foreign soil, I could completely believe maybe like some people within the government of India kill somebody on Indian soil. Completely believable. On Canadian soil, that's a completely different game. Yeah.
Okay, so next super chat. Go ahead.
But somebody saying, but didn't Saudi order a hit on Khashoggi? Yeah, but that was in their embassy. That's Saudi.
That's Saudi territory.
That is Saudi. That is still Saudi soil. But yeah, go on.
Technically, it is. Which is so crazy with these Khalistani activists, because they go and break into and do vandalism and destroy property of India consulates. So that's literally like an attack on Indian soil that's like allowed to happen on their foreign territory, so to speak, which is ridiculous. Right. Can I tell a short story? When I was in San Francisco, the Indian consulate was really close to me. And I remember one day I was walking to get my coffee, as I do, and I was walking past, and all of a sudden I hear all this noise. And I look and I see these yellow flags. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the Khalistanis. And so I go running towards them, because me being me, and I was just fascinated. And then I started to get closer, and then I was immediately like, abort, abort, abort. I am intimidated. This is not a friendly crowd. I am not here for this. I gotta leave. I gotta go. But I remember seeing this giant like protest in front of the consulate, and then I was looking and I could see this like consulate worker like wearing a sari, like standing in the window upstairs, like watching them, all this stuff. And I don't know if it happened.
Your audio got cut.
Or
hello, your audio got cut.
Oh, okay. I was basically saying that I don't know.
Wait, guys, do you have audio for Susie?
What?
Oh, is it my audio that got cut?
Can you hear me?
Is my audio there?
I can hear you.
Can you guys hear Susie? Let me see if
what's happening.
Oh yeah, you can. Okay, you keep talking. I will fix my.
Okay. Well, basically, I was saying that I don't know if they had the incident where they actually damaged the property of the San Francisco consulate on that day, or if it was a different day. But I think it's like utterly shameful that the SFPD would allow that to happen. That's a total dereliction of duty, but it's also the San Francisco police. So dereliction of duty is kind of the name of the game. So
okay. My Bluetooth just got disconnected for no apparent reason, but now it's back.
No problem. Yeah. Sid Dave gave another super chat saying the problem is immigrants importing their problems, not assimilating, and now their problem is impacting the new country's foreign policy. How do we solve that? Now that is the question for the ages.
Problem is immigrants.
I really don't know.
Better filters, I guess, for immigration, but yet maybe too little, too late. How the problem is impacting the new countries.
Yeah, well, I mean, giving political asylum to a bunch of people accused of terrorism probably is a bad first step.
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
What the fuck, Canada?
Yeah.
and then not extraditing them when asked politely through the appropriate diplomatic channels. I don't know.
Mugambo just became a member because of Secular Sakai buying Mugambo a membership. So thank you, Secular Sakai, for the gift of membership to Mugambo.
Sheikh Haseen in San Francisco, people shit on the streets like in India. It's true. You're killing me. Oh my God. There was actually a study that came out about how the streets of San Francisco are comparable, if not more dirty than streets in third world countries. I've been to third world countries where the streets are cleaner than San Francisco. I'm not even kidding. I returned to San Francisco and I'm like, wow, it's a lot dirtier here. Oh God.
I mean, I'm glad that these are sharing cultures with each other. This is the kind of cultural enrichment of you can bond over this with each other.
Guys, these are jokes. Don't be offended. SFL gave us $7 Canadian just with a bunch of clapping signs. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for clapping for
By the way, Shikha is from India, guys. Don't blame us for this comment. Okay, she's from India. Okay.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yes, it's
a
joke.
The stuff about San Francisco is not a joke, though. That's true.
The India one is true too. Yeah.
Gasian American, thank you again for another super chat. By PRC standards, the Dalai Lama is a terrorist.
Oh wait, so PRC.
You're talking about border integrity.
What? He doesn't have weapons. I said, like, if you are allowed to be a separatist, if you are just using your voice, you just like, we want to separate. Okay, please give us our own country. That is allowed. You should be able to do that. It's called freedom of speech. Okay, it's called freedom of political activity. I'm only talking about separatists who pick up arms. They are the terrorists. There we go.
Yeah. She once again coming out with a banger saying actually it's decreasing in India. Well, in San Francisco it's increasing. Again, she ain't lying.
Yeah, true. That's not lying.
If you right, you right.
True. Okay.
Dave gave us another super chat. Wow, so generous today. Thank you. Saying,
thank you.
Khalistan sympathizers are not like Iranian dissidents. Khalistan is against India as a state, whereas Iranian dissidents are against a regime. Motivation matters. Anyone who wants to be a religious ethno-state is wrong. Well, I pretty much agree.
I don't. Well, I mean, we didn't compare them, but yeah, we pretty much, of course, they're not the same. Yeah,
I agree. Because most Iranian dissidents aren't challenging Iran's border integrity. Also, there are some. There's some
hell no
and stuff, but that's
the Iranian dissidents are very, very, very much aggressively sometimes are in favor of their border integrity. Like they will, and that's for a lot of them, it's the number one priority. So yeah, Iranian dissidents,
for sure,
it's a red line. Yeah, Iranian dissidents are, the vast majority of them would never be in favor of any separatist movement.
And the ones that show any modicum of sympathizing, they get boofed fast.
Yes, exactly.
For good reason, I think. Indominus Rex gave us 100 rupees. Thank you. Saying his father did one as well, refused to extradite Talwinder Parmar, who ended up bombing Kanishka, killing 300 Canadians. Oh, so you're talking about the Air Canada bombing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So next we have another super chat by Sid Dave saying Khalistan is the most low IQ separatist movement in the history, the fanatical, landlocked religious ethno-state between India and Pakistan with no access to sea and totally dependent on Pakistan to survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a
makes sense.
terrible idea to begin with.
It's like shooting yourself in the foot. Like, yay, we win by losing. Like, if you win, like you're hurting your own people. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It kind of is like how in a theoretical sense, I think Kurds would benefit from having their own state just because they're so persecuted. You know, kind of like how I think Jews are justified in wanting their own state because of the level of persecution, and they should have a place where they can go to be safe. But then if there was a Kurdistan actually in that area, it's like the worst neighborhood to be in ever. So
no, Kurdistan. I know the Kurdish people have been abused a lot. They have been discriminated against a lot, but having their own country is not the right solution. It's over.
At this point in time, it's a horrible idea.
It's over. The time of changing borders and making new countries has been done for the modern solutions are now to just deal with the borders that we have right now, unless they're very, very rare situations. You might want to change borders, but most of the time, this is the borders that we have. We have to think of other solutions. No more building new countries. We're over with that. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. Okay. Modernity requires to leave the borders where they are right now. Okay. We have better solutions for the problems that we're having. But yeah.
Okay, so last super chat for this news is Trudeau from JJ. Thank you, JJ. Saying Trudeau is under pressure of Khalistani radicals. He's being forced to do such things. How does the Canadian government even allow Khalistani radical road shows? Okay, well, that's a matter of freedom of expression and freedom of assembly.
Yeah.
They have a constitutional right to do those things. But what do you think about the accusation that he's under pressure from these radicals to do these things? I don't think that's necessarily justified accusation.
I think the political gain from that is very minor compared to the political loss in making a false accusation like that. So there's that.
Yeah.
He must be, I don't know. Somebody's very, I don't know who's being the dummy here. But somebody has lost their mind. I don't know who.
I don't know what happened, but someone lost their mind. Yeah. This is crazy. We're in crazy land. Okay. Oh my gosh. And we got another super chat from Sakai. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Sakai, saying, please Google the biggest conference for atheists in India you covered last year. It is coming up soon on October 1st in Kerala in the Nisha Gandhi Auditorium. It's called Essence Global. Yes, Essence Global is happening again this year. They had the largest meeting of atheists in the world.
We got an email about that asking us for covering it and supporting it. So we should reply to that email.
Got invited to attend, actually, but we can't afford it right now.
Oh, wait, invited to attend in India?
Yeah, no, they're like there's been people trying to get us to go to this conference for 2 years now.
Okay. Do they know that we have like police FIRs against us?
Yeah, but those are in the north.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't think it's a good idea for me and you to go to India, even if we could afford it.
I think not to for a while.
I think guys, for people who are new here, me and Susie both have FIRs by police filed against us in India. I have 4, I think. How many do you have? I have 4 against me.
I just have 1. I'm not,
okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, okay. I have 4. Okay, so yeah, we can't go to India. We will get arrested. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, yeah. I don't know. It's just a complete complaint. It's not like charges have been filed against us. That's on a different level. But
yeah, I know.
We were advised against it, at least for a little while longer.
Oh, wait. Somebody says, Armin, what did you do? I posted pictures of sexy Kali, of a goddess, of a Hindu goddess. I was just admiring how sexy she is, and that's what got me into legal trouble. Yeah. For people who are new here, the fact that we posted the picture, I posted pictures of a Hindu goddess that was very sexy, and I admired her being very sexy, was so significant apparently in India that got our case all the way to the Supreme Court of India. We're not kidding, to the Supreme Court of India. So there's that. We made history in India. We made atheism trend in India for the first time. That's how big of a deal this was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And we got a bunch of new members during the last segment. Thank you guys. Ved, James Williamson, and JJ all became members of Satan's Minions. Welcome to hell.
Oh, that's good.
I also really loved this comment by Abijanu saying, I was feeling bad earlier about being an ex-Muslim in Pakistan, but being here makes me feel comfortable. And Abijanu, that means so much to us. That's literally why what we do what we do. This is what inspires our work. It's what keeps us motivated. And I think it also means a lot to the people in our global community to know that they are part of providing that sense of belonging to you as well. And Kenny just gave $10, 10 euros, excuse me, just because. Thank you. And also, one moment, I want to show that in the past segment, we also had a donation of $15 from Tobias. So thank you guys. I don't know. I think it might be cool at the end of every segment to see how our fundraiser is doing. So yes, guys, thank you for supporting our fundraiser to make sure that our programming can continue. And with the support of you guys, I want to bring back our programming to the standard that which you are accustomed.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.